No, we'll come to you, but I need to reverse it. But make the mic close to you, please.
I'd like to answer that question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whose question?
Your question.
Yes, you ask the question.
You said a statement. Okay, I'd like to respond to your statement.
No,
Go ahead, go ahead.
About not knowing anything about, I definitely know that I don't know enough about my culture, like you guys said. But I did grow up in Sudan. I grew up half here and half in Sudan, so I know what you mean by the bridge between the generations. Like when my mom talks about Sudan, it's a completely different Sudan. It's never going to be the same ever again. So it's something different that we have to all get used to. And I don't think it's going to help trying to bring that back to the past. I mean, we just need to move forward. And I remember when Dr. Ibrahim was talking about his presentation, that's what hit me the most. Like, it was because it was so similar to what we're going through. All that stuff about you saying that the bringing back, like your parents, worrying about your parents in a country with no health services and that. Yeah, that's what, it's so similar to what's happening in Sudan at the time, and I think that's what we need to strive for, things like that. So yeah.
What's your ideas? What are your ideas for Sudan?
It's so similar to that. You don't understand. We say that all the time when I was in university. We were just like, okay, so what if something happens to my parents now? We literally have, even if they get a cough, they have to leave the country straight away because there's no way I can take them to hospital. I've seen what happens in the hospitals, and I don't want to take them to that. And all of the things about the health service and the gaps in the, what did you say about the ratio of the doctors to the patients and the nurses to the patients, that's definitely happening in the health insurance. So
do
yeah,
you want to make
no
it better?
Yeah, definitely.
So do you want to make Sudan
there's no
better?
point in thinking about the old Sudan. It's never going to come back again. We just have to look forward and take the next step and just that line across it.
Okay. So you see a future in Sudan?
Yeah, definitely. And I know it depends on us, I know. But in the state that we're at right now, we can't help much. I feel like I'm too young, I'm too inexperienced. I still need to I mean, I can't really do much.
No, but if you've got a vision.
As long as I have a vision, yes.
I need to intervene here because we are recording. It has to be one voice. Yes. If you can pass it on, yes. We need to have one voice at the same time. I will come back to you. All of you, I'll give you a chance. Yes, Karim. What anything being said or a new idea?
Your vision for Sudan. That's all.
What my vision for Sudan is, for example, when I, as a young 17-year-old girl, I know so much about, for example, Egypt. I know so much about it. I've been taught about it, and it's like everywhere you go, you just learn so much about, for example, Morocco. But when it comes to Sudan, there's a certain thing like you don't know much about it. Because like she said, even when it comes to even healthcare and stuff, I know people who go from Sudan to Egypt just to get treated. Like, why can't you be in your own, like, no, I don't know how to say, but like, why can't you stay in Sudan and be treated like good like that? And I don't know, like, I want to be proud, like, I want to be proud Sudanese girl, but like, yeah, Sudan, I want it to be like a strong country, and for it to be like, no.
So what role do you think you can play in that?
Because like I said now, everything's more technological, everything's more virtual, and in a way you can connect, even like from here I can connect to countries all over the world. I think that's a way to show people about our culture and for us ourselves to learn more about our own culture more virtually.
This is the problem. Let's have the mic. Yes,
keep going.
Please guys, if you can wait for them to respond and then we'll give you the mic back, please.
You should do it the youth way.
We need to listen because this is recording. So yes, go ahead.
There is actually only so much you can do with social media and connection. I think you need to take action. You can't just rely on virtual connections and Facebook and tell people, oh, this is what's going on, so can you send a message to this person, to tell this person, to tell this person. You actually need to go there, experience what people are going through, and take action. I mean, we may be young and inexperienced, but you need to start somewhere. We can't just sit there and watch, things take place and not do anything. We need to take responsibility.
Yes, go on.
My reply to pretty much everyone who said something, and they're like, what can the youth do, and what do we need to do for the youth, and what do you guys think to do? What you can really do is you can just listen. The problem with the senior generation, and especially Sudan, I get it from my family, is that they know best. And it's always, we know best, we know, we've been through this and whatever. And when we get that backlash as youth, we're like, okay, whatever, you know best, we're a bit bored, we'll go do something else. There's a lack of listening, and because of the lack of listening, we don't step up because we don't feel like anyone's listening to us. No one, you're all very quick to give us questions now that we've said our piece, but no one actually comes. You seniors have responsibility, and you don't come to the youth, sit with us and say, actually, what do you think? You wait for us to come to you, and you wait for us to, like, you know, put our hands up in the air, scream and shout before anyone listens. But actually, what if you just came to us and just said something? I know, actually, if I take this to another part of the world, in Israel, they have a situation set up where their youth, when they graduate, have to go to Israel and do a sabbatical for a month, where they stay in Israel and they live and they work and they give back to the country. We don't have that set up, but why can't we? I'm pretty sure if we were all given the opportunity to go to Sudan for 2 or 3 weeks and give back to the country, learn about the country as a group of youngsters, if 20 of us went, we'd go. So it's these ideas that we do all have if you sit and listen to us, but I think the problem is that the seniors of our generation are pretty much like, we know best because we know Sudan. And you don't know Sudan, and we never expect you to know Sudan. So we're at a bit of a loss, basically.
Yes, I'm just gonna highlight the point that, so especially the senior generation, I always have this, especially in my medical field. Like the senior generation, Sudan is bad, it's beyond repair, and it's an unbelievable situation. And I can see that in every index you see the Sudan at the bottom of the list. But I don't see that as a failure. I think what I see, the youth perception of it, is a challenge, is an opportunity to do something. And that's what I see in my eyes. And every time when I look at one of my senior colleagues and speaking about Sudan in that way, I said, what he will achieve from this? Is he gonna crack my passion? I'm very patriotic about my country. I'm not gonna abandon it and live abroad and just live with it. I'm gonna do something and I'm not gonna wait for the government to do it for me. And even one of the economists, Eleanor Estron, she had she's a Nobel Prize, and she spoke about the institutions that don't belong to the government and don't belong to the private sector, and they do well enough. And I think the youth can use a model outside the two systems and provide support, advice, help for the people, for our youth in Sudan to build our future. That's what I think. So I think the political division needs to stop because we're sick of it as a youth. And that's across not just the medical field, teachers, young doctors, young workers, they're tired of this politics. They want to help. Like if you get them a project, if Satan is doing it, they will do it with you. So it doesn't matter. I think we need to look for this. And the same happened with the project that we did in North Kordofan. Everyone said to us, you're going to fail. You're young, nobody will listen to you. Some people listened here, some people listened over there, and we did the project. So it's not very gloomy as people mention it. Thank you.
Thank you very good.
I think I wanted to respond to Hanoud first about how he spoke about bridging the gap. But before I say that, I think with the exception of this conference, this is pretty much the only time I've actually sat underneath the same roof with senior Sudanese members and just spoke about Sudan, just discussed it, spoke about what people have done. And honestly, it's been so inspiring listening about the medical equipment donations, the North Kordofan projects, the scholarship programs, the water management research, and so much more that's been going on that none of us, I'm sure, were aware of if we hadn't come to this conference. So I think a lot of you guys are contributing a lot. And I think in order to bridge that gap between the us and them gap, I think it's important to have a lot more of these meetings and gatherings. Even in Sudan, I think the youth are very active, they're very keen. They're doing a lot in Sudan at the moment. And I think it's good to think of actually setting up mentorship schemes, I think especially for the senior Sudanese members who live in the diaspora, when you go back, connecting with universities, setting up workshops, training, I can guarantee you, I'm pretty sure you get hundreds of students flocking in because they want to speak with people who want to make a change. And I think everyone wants to spark that change. It's just finding, getting that guidance. And you speak about what's your vision and what's your vision. I can't sit here and paint a rosy picture for you when I'm not even certain or fully aware of the situation in Sudan. So my passion is microfinance and migration, as you've seen in my presentation, some areas that I'm really interested in and keen on. But I'm not fully aware of the situation of microfinance in Sudan. So I need to speak with people who work in the field. And I've spoke with a few people here from microfinance. So I think just establishing these types of networks is crucial because it makes us more aware and it allows you and us to contribute more in a more practical manner.
Actually, it is good to listen to the young generation and to know their needs. We have to listen to them. And it is good that they have intentions to learn, a will to learn. And actually, here in London, for example, we published a magazine talking about the heritage and history of Sudan. We published 5 issues. Okay, you can have it and see the contents. And nobody supported us. And also we published it in English because we know the young generation, they don't know Arabic. Another thing is that, 50 years back I wrote a book about the history of Sudan and I transformed it to a TV series for 30 days. And we are talking, lecturing in the events about the history and heritage of Sudan. But we didn't see young people. In other communities, we see a lot of young people because the other communities, they take care of the young generation and they bring things which appeal to them. We ask them what appeal, how did you bring this young generation? They said we promote it by entertainment. Okay? Thank you very much. You want to say something? Yeah?
Listen. You have to listen to me. Let me give you other. No. I have a cue here already. And introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Abdul Hassan. I think we are too harsh on young people most of the time. People in Sudan, young people in Sudan also don't know enough about Sudan, and this is a fact. I remember I was teaching at University of Science and Technology in Sudan some years ago, and it was 21st of October, and I said to people, what happened in this country going 21st of October 1964, and nobody knows. But there is some facts. There is many organizations here who are working with young people. Don't know who, if you have worked with Youth Factor. Yeah. This is a very well-run organization, bringing Sudanese young people together. And please try to Google them and find them. And perhaps next time, perhaps invite them as a group to come and talk to us because they are doing good work. We have another group called Open Agenda Maftuha, which discusses the issues of many issues, including these issues. I'll just stop.
Thank you. You have to have a cue here.
But the thing is, whether you like it or not, nothing is going to happen without you creating a concept in your mind, a plan.
Exactly.
And start growing it. You water it. The political situation is not going to stay the same forever. Even through death, something is going to change. But you have to be ready to take over when it happens. Very small drops make an ocean, we saw in the presentation, right? You guys all are professionals in something. Start thinking about what you have dreams, start thinking of how to make them real. Nigeria has a very active youth population. I don't know, you see Chimamanda Adichie, you see the TEDx Houston here is organized by a pair of Nigerians, they're my friends. I think you should have a youth conference actually, where you guys talk, bring out your ideas, and between yourselves start sharing on how to make it a reality.
Conference doesn't work unless the adults get involved. We can't make a concept, but we need
the guys that created TEDx Houston completely didn't have any. They consider themselves adults. You are adults right now.
No, but we still need the seniors. We still need your help. We're asking for help. Effectively is what we're doing.
Well,
so you go to your organization.
Over to you, the seniors then.
What help do you need? mean, you can count on
Please, you have to appreciate. We are under pressure. I have to give quickly, Dr. Please.
I'm glad to hear this discussion, and I myself, I have a lot of faith.
Bring the microphone closer, please.
Because I think you are privileged. You have grown up in the technology. You know that in the last 20 years, the advance in technology that happened in the world is equal to what happened from the time of Adam, maybe. So we are also privileged because we lived the two lives. We lived the old style. We learned with القلم والرصاص وناس حبر والجواز وكتبنا في الواقع وشفنا أولادنا بيتعلموا يعني letters from the computer. So we have the advantage of the two worlds. And we need each other. And I think the Sudan need us. And I was glad to hear that one of you said that we draw a line. The old Sudan will not come back. We don't keep casing the current situation. We have to think about how to make the change. Look at Turkey. I'm looking at the bad situation in a positive way. There was a parallel state. You could be a parallel state, parallel system in Sudan. Do and achieve. You are community. You've got the power. Leave the government there and try to do the change. And I could hear 2 or 3 buzzwords coming up, and I want just to take an advantage and throw some suggestions about this. Somebody mentioned virtual and museum. So why not to make a virtual museum? This Museum of Sudan, take every single picture there, make it a Museum of Sudan, make it in a website, and introduce it to our diaspora here. So they will learn about Sudan. Why not try it? We are diaspora, we're the seniors, that you think that we are seniors. Okay, we are seniors, why not try it? A short and brief history of Sudan to be distributed to our children in diaspora. And we send it by WhatsApp, by email, by whatever to every single child. Parents may not have time to teach their children about history, but we agree on 10 subjects that we want you to know about this, about Sudan. A group of us here may be organized by Allah or any other forum, and we agree on these 10 subjects, make a website, write history of Sudan for diaspora children, and then we try to distribute it to people. So there are a lot of ideas that people can come up and do a change. Just the last thing is the program you mentioned about Israel. In 2009, I have written a proposal to Sudan authorities about doing such a proposal. And at that time, the Minister of Youth is now the person who is responsible for the expatriates, Haj Majid. And I have sent it to him, 2009, now 7 years, I haven't heard from him anything. But we could start doing it by initiative from you. Most of you are paid and have money, and just find the ticket, and accommodation in Sudan is not a problem. And there are a lot of avenues that people, if they sit together, they can come up with ideas which are implementable. Thank you very much.
I would like to give them quickly to respond. Who wants to respond on behalf of the youth factor, if you like? Can you, one of you, answer all these people?
I think really to say, in the end, we're all working towards a common goal, and that's the most inspiring thing about all of this. It's not us against you, as you guys have said, it's a parallel thing, and it's positive. It's positive for us, for the young girls, and for you as well, for the fact that we all say that we want to help, and you're saying we want to help you, and I agree it should happen. It needs to be a parallel thing. So when we discuss and you're like, this is happening or that's happening, you don't know, great, tell us it's happening, we'll get involved. But the problem is we don't know what's happening. Like, none of us, we don't know enough. It's not like we're putting our head in the sand. We're saying, help us know what to do. And even there, he was like, why don't we come up with a virtual museum? I would have never thought of that idea, but now that he said it, I think it's a great idea. So you guys might have more ideas than us. So tell us what you think. Do you think this is a good idea? Yeah, we think it's a great idea. Okay, how do we do it together? So we all need to come together, and I think that's the point. I want the seniors to come together with youth. We can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. So I think on behalf of us, we can definitely say that if you tell us what we could do and you listen to us and what we want, I think it could work.
Yeah.
So.
Excellent.
Thank you very, very much.